Elecciones en Denver. Conoce a los candidatos en 8 minutos. Un espacio producido por el Comercio de Colorado.
Preséntese usted misma para nuestros lectores.
Hello everyone, I am Lisa Calderón and I am running for Denver Mayor. I have been born and raised, actually fourth generation in Denver, and my grandparents, my great-grandparents were from Mexico, and my grandmother was a migrant farm worker and instilled in us hard work ethic and also the importance of education and home ownership. I am a professor at Regis University. I'm also the executive director of Emerge Colorado, and I used to run the city's reentry program. I have 4 degrees, including a law degree and a master's, and a doctorate in education.
¿Cuál es el problema más urgente que hay en Denver en este momento?
The most pressing issue for Latinos today is the cost of living and how expensive it is to live in Denver. And that crosses all domains. So housing is huge, and we know that our wealth is tied up in our homes. Only about 50% of Latinos own their homes, which means that we also have a lot of renters. So the fact that so many Latinos are struggling to make ends meet, whether it's their mortgage or their rent or just putting food on the table, we know our high cost of living and unaffordability is at the top, and it's one of the reasons I'm running for mayor.
¿Qué propone usted para solucionar el alto costo de vivir en Denver?
So there's lots of things that we could be doing differently to make Denver more affordable. One is recognizing that Latinos are #1 for being displaced in the nation out of Denver. And so what we want to do is make sure that the Latino community is able to stay here for generations. You know, my daughter lives with me and she's 27 years old, did everything we asked her to do, and still cannot afford to live on her own or buy her own home. So we need to have programs to subsidize housing and rent, so we stabilize. We also know that a lot of Latinos disproportionately live in mobile home parks. We need to make sure that they can stay there in their homes. If they live in a community that has an HOA, we need to make sure that they have rights, that their homes don't get taken just because they have complaints and fees from the Home Ownership Association. So there are a lot of things that we can do to prevent homelessness and increase home ownership that the city just hasn't done enough of, or focus specifically on the Latino population.
¿Cómo cree usted que se debe combatir el problema de la criminalidad en Denver?
Community safety is also at the top of the list for Latinos. And most concerned around safety around school and if their children will be safe or just safe in our neighborhoods. And it has actually been the catalyst for me getting into politics. My son was assaulted by Denver police officers when he was 15 years old walking home from school. And so I wanted to make sure that my son felt safe, whether it be from crime or whether it be from police violence. And so I participated on a lot of commissions. I most recently was part of the Reimagining Policing Task Force, and we created 112 recommendations to help make our community safer. I also intend to have public safety officials that are appointed who are visionary but with Latino community input. And so I'm looking forward to actually revamping our public safety department to be more responsive to our community needs.
¿Debería ser electo el jefe de la policía en Denver?
I believe that our sheriff should be elected, and I have worked on initiatives, ballot language, because I'm for decentralizing the mayor's office. We have a strong form of mayor system in our city which comes from the Ku Klux Klan years. And instead, we need to be sharing power with our community. So most jurisdictions in Colorado elect their sheriff. Denver is a very progressive city, and so would elect a progressive sheriff, I would expect. The police chief is usually appointed, and it should be done with community input.
¿Cómo resolver el problema de las personas sin hogar en Denver?
So I've been homeless as a teenager, escaping domestic violence in my home, which was generational. And so when I hear people talk negatively about unhoused people, part of that is talking about me. Somebody helped me as well. I have run the city's reentry program, which is helping people who are coming out of jail find places to live and finding jobs. I've also been a legal director for domestic violence victims, and I did that for 12 years. And when women leave, or anybody in a domestic violence situation leaves, they're often homeless. So we need to create pipelines for people when they are newly homeless or when they're chronically homeless. Denver has a shelter-first system, which means we put a lot of our focus on warehousing people. We need a housing-first system. That means we rapidly house them within 30 days or less of them being on the street. We also need interventions for them if they're on the brink of homelessness through rent subsidies and rent stabilization. So we need to look at the whole continuum of the homelessness problem and not just what we see on the street.
Para hacer honor a sus raíces, ¿dónde consigue usted buena comida mexicana en Denver?
Well, two of my favorite places, my go-to places are El Noa Noa and El Taco de Mexico. So when I want to just get a good breakfast burrito or lengua tacos, I'll go to El Taco de Mexico. And when I want to sit down or have a meeting with folks, I'll go to El Noa Noa.
¿En qué invierte usted el tiempo libre?
Well, if you look at my Facebook page, I am hiking with my dogs and getting out into the healthy air and the environment. You know, it's a misnomer that Latinos are not environmentalists. Like, we are the original environmentalists. And so being out with the earth, in the air, walking by a river, that's something that I try to do every weekend, of trying to get out. And my daughter also supports me in doing that when I've been working too long, to get out and walk every day. So that's what I do for relaxation.
Un mensaje final.
My last words are, we have the opportunity to create and reimagine Denver. You know, there's lots of things we can learn from the past, but I'm really about the future and being forward-looking. I want to have a lot of visionary Latinos in my administration and break records in doing that. We comprise about 30% of Denver's population, and our numbers are growing. We are the sleeping political giant in this city, and I want to have a mayor's office that reflects that.